are so excited that you're back with us for another episode of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Artists. And I told you, we have the most amazing guests, and I love the fact that they are even my friends. So I want to introduce them to you and all the people all over the world, but I want them to basically introduce themselves. So today we have with us.
I'm Roslynn Clark, and I'm an author from Baldwin, Mississippi, and I have been writing since around 2007.
Okay, wonderful. Now, where did you grow up and around in Baldwin, and where did you go to high school? What schools did you go to? We kind of want people to relate to the schools and where you graduated from.
Well, my first school was Lee Prentice, which was on the borderline of Lee and Prentice County. So, and that was an all-black school, and we integrated, I'm thinking, in 1970. So at which point I went to Baldwin School. So I was in the second grade. So I spent most of my time there in Baldwin. I went to college at ICC in Tupelo, and then I went to Northeast in Boonville. I'm a registered nurse. So I did my training at both schools, actually. And what else? There's so much that.
Yeah, okay, so you got your nursing degree, and then you went to the military after that? How did that work out? What?
Well, in 1983 is when I went to basic training. Signal Corps. I was communications specialist. One had to be able to type at least 30 words per minute to be a Signal Corps communications specialist. So because of my typing instructor, Miss Ernestine Pippin, I was able to type. And because of my being able to type, I was able to get that job. Then my being able to type and get that job encouraged me to be able to write a book. Because I was able to type my own book and not have to pay someone hundreds of dollars. So thankfully, my typing instructor, Miss Ernestine Pippin, up in Baldwin, she never took no for an answer.
Oh my goodness.
You know, if you didn't do right, it was like this: F, F, F space, F space, and she had that stick, and she would hit it on the floor. And so we enjoyed that.
Oh, those are old school teachers. Don't we love them?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And she was so supportive. She and my mom had grown up together, so she actually called us by our last names.
Right.
So if I was doing something that she wasn't pleased with, she would say, Clark.
Right. I told people when I was growing up, I had no clue what my first name was really, because you were always Little Neely, you know, and that's how you were in the community.
Right.
So now, when did you first start writing? Most people who write started when they were in grade school or young, you know, teenagers or whatever. When did you first start writing?
It's funny to say, but I think my first book I was about in the second grade, maybe.
Really? That always amazes me.
What it was, I was teaching, I was playing in school with my sisters.
Right.
So there was a Rexall calendar. Do you remember those calendars
yes,
that you got?
Of course,
and
the drugstore calendar.
Nice to write on.
Yes.
So I cut it and I took string from the bedspread that I tore off at the bottom of the bedspread. You know how we would.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so we put holes in it and I raveled it or threaded it through the end, and so I taught my sisters from it. It may have been the ABCs or whatever, but I always like to teach, I guess.
Okay, wonderful.
But after that, I think I decided to write poetry. I began with poetry.
Okay, and this is the first book, Found Growing in a Garden.
And it's not published yet. It's a mess. This is what I began writing. And
wow,
my first two books are
taken. Wow, a lot
taken.
of poems.
Yeah. So my first two books are taken from this book.
Oh,
so
wonderful. Now, this was written when?
That was written. I began that in, I'm going to say, 1997, maybe.
Okay.
So.
And what are most of the poems about? Found growing in a garden. It's just like the garden of life, basically. Everything, a mix of everything.
Since you said that, yes.
Okay.
It's Found Growing in a Garden. It's based on life's garden. And it says the story of a man and a woman. They were planted in the world. They start out growing together, then find that there are vines that entangle them and footsteps that crush them. As they learn and return to what was, could have been, what is, and shall always be, they flourish and multiply in the brightness of the sun.
Oh, my goodness.
So I look at how this couple in here was Adam and Evelyn, but it was based on Adam and Eve.
Okay.
So how they were first put in a garden and God wanted them to grow.
Wow.
But they realized over time, like man and woman, that there's so much in this garden that tangles us up. So we have to realize that even though there are footsteps, there are things that entangle us. Right. We still have the sun to help us to grow.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. Okay, so fast forward. You go to South Side of Eden, so that kind of goes in the garden theme and all that. So tell us about what's the main character in this book, and
yes, the main character is one.
And is that you on this cover right here, girl?
That's me,
baby.
That's me.
That's what I noticed when you were in Barnes and Noble at a book signing. I was like, that is her on that poster, honey. She is the cover girl for her book. So do that, honey. Do that.
Well, you know, you have to use what you pay
for. Baby? Go ahead, girl.
Not like that. Well, what happened was I did try some modeling back in the old days. You know how people are always telling you what you should do? Because I'm 6 feet tall, they always say, you should model, you should play basketball. I didn't want to.
And you don't have the problem with us, especially over 40 women, with all this, honey, all this going on. You have the physique for it, believe me.
You got to stop eating all that meat and bread and sugar.
Okay, I'm telling you. I'm getting into that vegan thing. I really am.
Don't say vegan. My sister's a vegan. She drives me crazy with that, but I believe what she's saying.
I'm serious. If you stop all that meat stuff, it will lower your cholesterol and a whole lot of other heart issues and all that. So I'm trying to jump on the bandwagon, y'all, because you know how I was with bacon and ham and pork chops and baby what, but after 50, you really have to do some drastic changes. You really do to be healthy, and you got it going on. And I love this dress, and we met each other. That's
Don't be telling everybody where my clothes come
Baby, Ross, I'm going to tell it. I always tell people how we first met, and most of the people that I meet and become friends with are on Facebook. And that's how we became friends, because I try to find out all the authors and promote them in Mississippi. And you were one, and I was like, wow, she's just up the street. So I started sharing a lot of your stuff, and then we became friends, and it took a year or 2 or 3 before we really met each other, and we were in Ross looking toe down and toe up, both of us, no makeup, just doing our shopping thing, and I was like, I know you, that's my Facebook friend, and we took a little selfie and all that, so that's how we met, and Ross, love Ross. I'm putting a little shout out for Ross. If you ever want to find anything besides my yard sales and thrift shops, hey, go to Ross, because you'll always find whatever you need for a low price, really.
Because as women, we really should try to help other people find bargains.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want my girl going out and buying this dress and spending
$100,
right?
I
paid, what, 19 or 20?
15 sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but under 30 and under, you are doing good if you're doing that. Yeah.
And then you get your pots and pans in there.
Everything.
So not to be giving Ross a big time shout out.
Yeah, but that's
Trenda and everybody.
Okay.
But for us to figure out how not to spend a whole lot of money, that people are fooling us and we're buying these expensive clothes when it only costs $7 to make.
Okay.
You're making a
and look, you look like $1 million bucks. You look like $1 million bucks. And why not?
Then my own hair, I'm not talking about my hairstylist, because we got good hairstylists. But we have to learn how to save money.
We do where we can and when we can, and that's part of being artistic. That you start being creative, your creative mind.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So getting back to your books now, South Side of Eden, Miss Joy's Girls. Now tell us about that.
Miss Joy's Girls. Well, South Side, everything that happens on the South Side is usually hot and steamy.
Okay.
And there's usually a lot of problems on the South Side.
Okay.
And so Eden, the Garden of Eden, I kind of considered that it may have been on the north side.
Okay, okay.
But Adam and Eve on the north side, they're all, I'm not going to say wonderful because they made mistakes. But when you go on the south side and you find Adam and Eve,
it's gritty.
In the garden together, it's going to be some heat going on there.
Okay.
So this book also has Miss Joy in it, who is the church ladies.
Okay.
She's a church lady.
Okay.
Her objective is to make sure that the young ladies in the church find a good man.
Okay.
Get married and have babies.
Okay.
Now, obviously, this was back in the day. This book was based on something that was in the 70s or 80s.
Okay.
Although we still have the church ladies, right?
Right, of course.
So their main objective is to marry the young girls off, and the first thing they say is, when you going to have some babies?
Oh, my goodness.
They do that. So that's basically who those ladies were in there.
Okay.
And they tried to guide them in the right way. And the young ladies are at home. They're like, oh, yes, big mama, yes, grandmother. And then we hit the Elks. And you're dropping it like it's hot, you're having a good time, you're 19 and you're 20. Then you're at church on that Sunday morning, you got your hat on because you're over there with Miss Joy. And all these things that...
And it's like two sides of the coin with these ladies. So we go into different characters of Miss Joy's girls. And
you have Evelyn, who was in love with Adam.
Okay.
And she was Miss Joy's niece, or she is Miss Joy's granddaughter.
Okay.
She meets Adam on the steps.
Okay.
He's looking for someone else's house who is next door. And so they kind of fall in love on the steps. And there's a reason that there's a connection between them that they don't know about, but it was a long time ago when they were children. So they're drawn to each other and they can't really figure out why. And there's a movie that I did also that you
we're going to get into filmmaking. Yes,
but,
absolutely.
So they were kind of drawn to each other. And so the old ladies were looking through the window. So now they have a good project.
Okay.
So Adam and Evelyn, they go through their things. Then you have the best friends who are Sissy, Trish, and Jeff, and the usual.
Okay.
But the main characters are Adam and Evelyn and Sissy, because you always got to have a best friend to make sure you keep your man in check, because she's got to tell you what he did. Okay. But mainly the book is just trying to
and reading the book is kind of like these reality shows, the Housewives. It's almost like that, because everybody has all that drama in there, and we want to know what's going on with these girls.
It's like a gossip book. A lot of my friends, people that read it, I knew that they would enjoy it because it was like I'm sitting here talking to you, and it's gossip. And we're talking about what Evelyn just did and what Adam did and how in love they are and the problems. You got an antagonist that always shows up. Her name is Anne. Okay. If you're an antagonist, I'm not going to go through all that drama trying to get you a name. You're just going to be Anne.
Right. Miss Anne.
Anne, and she was rough.
Okay.
The typical things where you're in love and there's always somebody coming in.
Okay. So this was a part 1 book. Tell us the kind of climax in the book, if it doesn't give it all away. What was the kind of climax and near the end, and then that we go into a part 2?
Well, near the end, Adam and Evelyn had been through all of this, and everybody thinks they're going to get together, and Adam leaves to go away. To work.
Let's don't give too much, because y'all need to read this, Miss Joy's girls.
Yes. Adam is a doctor, by the way. He was in New Eden Medical School. Which is, I kind of took Morehouse and Spelman. Because she was in the school across the street from him. She's in journalism. So I was living in Atlanta at the time. So I kind of took those schools.
So how long did you live in Atlanta, and then when did you move back to Baldwin? Let's get into that too.
Let's see. I lived in Atlanta maybe on and off for 7 years, but I was there as a traveling nurse. I was there as a traveler, I'm going to say 3 years, and then I stayed there for 4 years, just loving Atlanta. And then all of a sudden I needed to do something different, so a job
So
came
look,
up
that's the Housewives of Atlanta kind of thing.
Yes, because when I left there, I went to Hawaii. So it was quite different. So I'm not going to say part 2 is Hawaii. Let me see.
Right here, Lost in Paradise, South Side of Eden, part 2.
Paradise.
Lost in Paradise. Now tell us.
I never thought about that. So that was, and that's me on the cover. Right. I had to pay for those pictures. We talked about the modeling, and I never did a whole lot. So I'm thinking, I paid for these shots. I'm using them on my own book.
You did that.
And this, I got at the merry-go-round, that outfit down in Miami, because I was living in Miami there. And so that was pink leather, girl. It was a bargain. But anyway, this one, she got more involved in, after Adam did his thing, she moved to Atlanta and got a little buck wild. So she was lost in paradise. She had a good time now.
And so we get a lot of ups and downs and all the steamy stuff that goes on.
And yes, and of course she did go to school, so she was doing some good stuff. She was getting her degree. She was dealing with her grandmother coming back and forth.
So you know that these books have to be good if you can go part 1, part 2, Part 3, okay?
And the problem that most of my friends complained about, I have a friend, her name is Linda Robertson Johnson. My best friend, her husband was complaining. He said he woke up at 2 in the morning. He said, Linda, you still reading that book? She couldn't put it down. She had to finish reading it.
Right, because you have to know what's going on, what's going to happen. Yes. Oh, my goodness. And then once you read the second one and the third one is not out yet, you're just having like meltdowns, like, when? I need to know what happened. So now we come to, what does 7-1 mean? That must be a scripture. Or something.
7-1, you know, in the word it does suggest that in the last days there are going to be 7 women. That's going to be one man.
Okay.
So you always hear that in this day and time there's already 7 women to every man.
Okay.
But this is just an experience that she goes through, thinking that there are 7 women to every man. But we have to realize that there's only one woman that God has assigned to each man if he has his choice, you know.
Okay.
So we shouldn't be sitting around worrying about, oh my God, it's 7 women to 1 man. You got to realize that if God has him for you.
And if something's for you, whether it's a man or whatever, hey, it's going to come to you. It's coming to you. So don't even worry about it. Whatever the odds are. And that's with anything.
Yes. And the grandmother explains a lot of that in there to them. You know, Miss Joy, she's just very resourceful. She's been there. She's done that.
And I love that you have used Miss Joy's girls, because it's like, I know you give us a lot of old school wisdom from her probably throughout all these books. Even though they're doing all their things, she's the stabling force and gives them a lot of real good advice. Okay.
And a lot of the things that happen in these books, even though this is fiction, a lot of it is true.
Yeah.
It was either my girlfriend did it, I did it, or I saw someone doing it. But the names have been changed.
Right. And that's why, absolutely. Eudora Welty said in the South, it's like, that's why we have so many writers and stories, because we don't have to make anything up.
Nothing.
There's something that we can write about for ages and ages in just our own families. We could write a whole encyclopedia. So we definitely know that there's so many colorful characters in our lives. Okay.
And we're supposed to share those characters, because if we don't pass those down, and you don't know who you are.
I always say that we can bridge gaps of misunderstanding across educational lines, across economic lines, racial lines, and all, just by telling our stories. And I think that is so important. Let's do one more book, and then we're going to talk about real storytelling and filmmaking, because that is really, really telling stories. Okay, Journey Despite a Dragon. Oh, okay. Now what? What's the dragon? Look at it. Okay.
Yes,
Samurai sword.
You got to do it. You know, you got to always fight. You know, this actually was based on the young man in the book. One of the young men in the book, he ended up without a father figure and had gone through a lot of things. Adam, such a great guy, coming out of a great family, having not a silver spoon in his mouth, but being taught by great people, he kind of took him under his wings, you know, even though this was like a dragon dealing with somebody else's child, another young man. You had baby mama drama.
Right.
And your own wife drama because of the baby mama, but he was all about that young man because he had a special connection with him. So despite the dragons of the world, all the drama that you go through, he got to take this journey because he has to make sure this young man has what he needs. Regardless of what baby mama did. It's all about this child. So despite this dragon of dealing with all these people talking about, that's not your son. Why are you giving him money? The woman fooled you. You found out he's not your child. And you're still taking care of him. Forget that dragon. This journey is the most important thing. And that journey is to empower this young man because he's got a family coming.
Love it.
So Adam he took that journey. Forget the dragon.
Despite a dragon. That's wonderful.
So it was all about helping this young man. And when you read about him, his last name is Black. And so young Mr. Black needed somebody.
Wow.
Benjamin Black.
Y'all need to get these books so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and get this whole story and all of this drama and all of these lessons and encouragement and just to know about life. Now we're going to talk about filmmaking. How did you get into making films? Decided that you wanted to make films and tell stories through films. What does that entail? Oh my goodness, it's just so much with that I want to know.
Well, filmmaking, I've always enjoyed cameras. My Aunt Betty Elsie, she had a Swinger camera when I was about 7 or 8. and it had a certain smell, and it had that little red button on the top.
Okay.
And it never had film in it because she didn't use it, but I always played with it.
Okay.
So when I was about a couple of years later, we still had swingers at the drugstore in Baldwin.
Okay.
So I bought me one, and I'm thinking I might have paid $14 or $17, but I had saved the money.
Okay.
So it was all about photography.
Okay.
And if you look in my books, there's a lot of photography in there.
Okay. Okay.
You might see a fireplace scene, and there's something written on it because I was in front of the fireplace.
And that goes along with authors, because every author is going to put their life into whatever they're writing, especially poetry. And then in their books, you're going to know something about that author. That's why I say, find an author, find your niche, the people that who really love your style of writing, because they're going to connect with you.
That makes so much sense, because that is a part of my spirit in there, huh?
It is, absolutely, absolutely.
Because the pictures were so important to me, and I'm the picture keeper of the family.
Okay.
Also.
Oh wow! Oh wow! That's so important.
They call me the paparazzi at church. So I ended up being the paparazzi and over Facebook because I love pictures.
Wonderful.
So then, obviously, if you can't make a movie and you're a kid, you figure out how to draw on the little pages.
Oh wow!
The little stick people and flip it.
Okay. Wow.
Like, interesting.
Wow.
So long story short,
okay.
After my first book, I met some people in Los Angeles who were independent filmmakers, or struggling independent filmmakers. And so I said to one of the guys, I said, why don't you turn my first book into a movie for me? And he said, Roz, do it yourself.
Okay.
And I said,
wow.
Okay.
I love this. I have to say this. I put this quote on Facebook all the time. It says, thank you to the people who wouldn't help me because I did it myself. So he did you a favor by saying, encouraging you, do it yourself so you learn.
Yes,
how did you start? How did you start learning it? And how did it start? And what were the mistakes? And,
oh my goodness.
Yes.
And I'm still making so many because I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I actually went to the pawn shop.
Okay.
And bought a camera.
Okay.
$7.99.
Okay.
And it was my DVX 100B. Everybody.
$799.
$799.
Okay. I would want the people to know. No, baby, you are not gonna get a $7.99 camera to be filming nobody. Okay.
Yes. But it was an excellent camera. Right. And I said, show me how to turn it on. And I said, okay. And now what? So I went out and I filmed some things. I'm still in LA now, and I showed it to him. He said, well, Roz, whatever you see on camera, this is what, whatever you see, that's what's going to show. So you have too much light in here. How could you even see these birds? And it looks like you're flashing light on them. I'm like, well, what should I have done? Okay. So we looked at all the controls and went from there. I read a couple books.
Oh, my goodness. I love that.
Videos. And I think it's just something that God gave to me to do, because he'll give you the things that he wants you to work with, your tools, because media is something that he can use, that can be used in that kingdom.
Absolutely.
Instead of us using everything for negativity.
For bad. Yeah, absolutely.
You just, your talents and your gifts.
And I love people like you, because that's why I have friends like you who do things. I have a flip phone. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because baby, I can't even use a smartphone. So I love people like you who just can get in there and do it. So tell me a little about the film festivals and how do you do, and how do you shop a film?
Oh my, well, I actually have only done the films a couple times, because I only have that one film based on that first book. And I have music videos because I work a lot with Mr. Sam Mosley. Okay. My objective, he doesn't know all of this yet, but every song that he has that I think has the potential of my being able to turn it into a video, I want to do that. Okay,
and Sam Mosley from New Albany, Mississippi. Now we're running out of time, and we're going to have to get you back to talk about more of that and more of the music videos and all that. But do you have a website? Or anything that the people can come to you and find your books or whatever?
My books are on barnesandnoble.com, Amazon.com, and you can find me on Facebook. Yes. I don't have a website. Like you were saying, we have so many things going on. We don't have time to do all that.
Well, you're going to get you a website so we can put all that stuff on there. Yeah, I know. Well, look forward to that website. But in the meantime, go to Facebook and you will find her books and all this. And I told you, honey, we got some fabulous people that know how to do everything in these Mississippi Hills. Thank you so much for coming again to watch another segment of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Artists. As always, I'm Patricia Neely-Dorsey, celebrating the South and promoting a positive Mississippi. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's inside me, girl, it's in the air. It's who I am through and through. It won't take long till it gets to you. It's everything